Hey there, it's Pete over at the Sampleist, and today we are checking out ProjectSAM's Lineage Percussion. ProjectSAM have a solid reputation of creating some of the most inspirational and functional libraries out there. From the Orchestral original Symphobia series to the jazzy swing collection, ProjectSAM managed to fill the composing toolkit gap with all kinds of fun, exciting and extremely well-polished instruments. Lineage Percussion is the successor of both True Strike libraries and is everything you need for both tuned and non-tuned orchestral percussion. It doesn't stop there though. ProjectSAM have developed their adaptive sync technology that was first seen in the colossal Pandora library. They applied that in practice to the outgoing True Strike library, and now it is here in all of its glory with the new Lineage Percussion. If you like your samples to hit perfectly on the beat with a human feel, Lineage Percussion might be everything you need. Lineage Percussion is available in two different versions. There's the core version and the pro version. The core version is 8.3 gigabytes in size and is on intro price of €129, excluding VAT, and $139. After the intro's ended, it goes up to €149 and $159. The Pro version is a whopping 51 gigabytes in size, and it costs €349 excluding VAT, or $379 during the intro period, and then it goes up to €399 excluding VAT, or $439. Both versions are NKS compatible and they require Contact Player version 6.6 or higher, so you can use the free Contact Player. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank ProjectSAM for sending over a pre-release version of Lineage Percussion so we could have a really good look at this library, get to know it, and of course throw it into a composition. While we do get the libraries for free, I'd like to point out that in no way that influences our thoughts, ideas, or any judgments that we may have. In this video, we're going to check out the sounds and the functions of Lineage Percussion, and then of course I've thrown it into the all-important composition. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. And here we have Lineage Percussion loaded up in the Native Instruments Complete Control player. And the first thing that grabs me is the GUI. I love the new style ProjectSAM GUIs. They are clean, they are clear, they're an absolute pleasure to work with. And ProjectSAM have given us a keyboard. So if I play some notes without any instruments assigned to them, you can see those working away. If I play the colored keys, there is our anvil. Now I use a Native Instruments Complete Control S1 Mark I controller, which is why I've not updated my version of Complete Control, because I love having the light guide. And it's just like having the light guide in front of me, and then I can see it on the screen as well. Lovely touch. So thank you for that, ProjectSAM. Please remember, this is a new library. It's a pre-release library for me, so I've not got any information really about the library itself. So it's encouraged me to jump in, dive in, however you want to put it, and just learn as much as I can with this library. And I've spent a long time working with it and found some really cool features. On the left hand side, you can see all of the different instruments. Now, I need to point out one thing I do know is that these are all new samples. So if you own True Strike 1 or 2, you're not buying the same samples over and over again. These are all brand new. And this is the Pro version. There are 51 gigabytes of samples going on, so it's a really big library. And you can see single instruments, there are grouped instruments, we have different kits, we've got different builders, there's kit builders, melodic builders. It's a really brilliant way to lay out a big percussion library like this. So let's hear what it sounds like. So there's the Anvil 1, and of course you can see the articulations here straight away. And this is a percussion library, and I've loaded it into my DAW at 0 dB, so this is the volume that the library has, and there is variation between different instruments. So that's the Anvil. So if we go for the beat ring, and this is really interesting, we've got our hits, Then we've got a tremolo accent. So that release. There we go. And then we have a tremolo that you can control with CC1. And then we have our roll. And the roll is using the adaptive sync technology. So I'm going to look at that a little bit later, but we'll play more as we do the instrument playthrough. We've got a bongo. So this one's a little bit quieter, and that's using the drumsticks. You can use hands. So lots of tonal variety there. Cabasa. Okay. Let's go for a conga. Beautiful. Let's go for cricket. So this is an orchestral library, but there's lots of smaller percussion. More cowbell. Finger snaps. Okay, so these are examples of untuned percussion. If we go for the celesta. It just sounds beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's go for something else. The Glockenspiel. The Glock is stunning as well. I'm just going to move my octave a little bit higher. Lovely. Now it's got that amazing resonance. You can actually dampen that as well. Okay, so you have that option. And I do, in the composition, utilize that, which makes sense when you hear what I've put together. Then you got a glissando. And you can see, again, different articulations. So playing up, playing down, and up and down. And I'm not using any sustain pedal for any of this. I'm just playing these exactly as they come. Okay, so we've got the cachichi. Tremolo. Let's go. I'm going to come back to the kits in a moment. The marimba, absolutely brilliant. Okay, it's just so you get an idea. Really, really simple playing. You get tremolo as well. Again, key switchable. I love the room sound. Yeah, sounds brilliant. Let's go for the Mark tree. Mark tree is my all-time favourite percussive instrument. So there's so many different ways it's played, and then you have the glissando. Which uses the adaptive sync as well. So let's say we want a really long glissando. Okay, so you can adjust the adaptive sync. It is on 2 beats default, which is very, very cool. Let's go for the Piatti. So we got a open hit and a dampened hit, and then for effects. Different performances. Rattle, one of my all-time favourites. Yeah. That's really cool. These are really velocity sensitive as well. Velocity sensitive, not velocitive. That's not a word. So they really do respond. Rototom. Okay, so again, some cool articulations there. And we've got several rototoms. I do talk about being a high school teacher, and many, many years ago, I wanted to buy some rototoms for my classroom, and I was told not to. And now I have them in musical form. So I'm very, very happy. I think rototoms are awesome. Sleigh bells. Sleigh bells 2. Very Christmassy. And of course, you can use the mod wheel, which you can't see here. I'm so used to the contact one, but it does bring up the volume. Then we got the snares. Now, the original True Strike snares, they were my go-to snare. I've used them on orchestral epics. I've used them for crime music. I've used them for spaghetti western. They are all over my last spaghetti western album. Okay, so mod wheel again. Now have the adaptive sync working. It's going to show you a really short one, a longer one. Fantastic. Now something about the adaptive sync. In fact, let's talk about these adaptive sync now. You can change the amount of beats. So you can sync this if you want a 1 bar roll, and you're working in 4/4, obviously you have 4 beats. If you want to make it longer, you can do that. Now if you don't want to be limited by beats, you can do it in terms of seconds. So you can hear the sample stretching there. That is one really, really long roll. So of course you can actually use a tremolo, use the mod wheel, and then combine it with a hit if you want a really, really long one. And I remember, I think it was in when Symphobia 1 was updated, when you got beyond a certain point of beats, it actually kind of told you that it wouldn't sound quite as intended. But ProjectSAM left the feature in for us to use at our own discretion, and it worked really, really well. Okay, and then we have this off function, which has 6 different lengths. And then downbeat. So you can actually have it trigger like midway through a bar if you want to, so you're not just limited to working on the grid. So that's what that is for, I believe. Pretty sure that is the case. So that's the adaptive sync. Now, a lot of these instruments have adaptive sync on them, which is really, really useful. So if you're scoring really, really quickly, want everything to be precise, this is absolutely perfect. Saves lots of time. You don't have to load up a roll instrument, then automate it. You can just get in there straight away. So that's really, really cool. Now the snares do sound brilliant. Okay, and this is a good example. This is a slightly louder instrument than, say, the congos, for example, in the library. But of course, when you're working with it, it makes no difference, which is fantastic. Then we've got a snare drum ensemble. Perfect for those circus moments. I was being a bit erratic with the mod wheel. Love the control and dynamics. Got a roll, side hit, and sticks. Yeah, it sounds really cool. And we've got different snare drums. And I believe True Strike has different ensembles and different variations of snare, but this is sort of taking that to the next level. Suspended cymbal. Love a good suspended cymbal. So different bows, and again, adaptive sync. Actually, I'll go a little bit lower. So great for horror scoring. And we've got another set. Fantastic. The old faithful tambourine. See, how often do you find tambourine rolls that are tempo synced? Never, really. But now you do. We have the Tam Tam 1. We have brushes as well. Adaptive sync rolls again. So there's adaptive sync all over the place in this library, and that is something that I absolutely love. Temple block. So plenty of varieties of that, and you can see how quickly everything's loading. I am off just a standard SSD. So actually no, this is an NVMe I'm using. So yeah, it is quick drive, but so quick. And there we have the temple block. Now you'll notice that this actually features all 5 temple blocks, and this is a set. So the GUI did just slightly move. I'm just going to load up timbales, just go back to where we were, and we'll talk about those sets in a moment. Timpani. I mean, that is a really... That's a strong timpani. Got some tom-toms. And then... sorry. I didn't go close enough to the microphone then. Tubular bells. Lovely. Vibraphone. Yeah. I use these a lot, especially for like detective type music. Vibraslap. Also about the time I was in a studio, we needed a Vibraslap urgently. Couldn't find one. I was in a metal band at the time. I don't know why I wanted one. And I love the fact that is the perfect Vibraslap. Can't say it. Vibraslap sound that I was looking for way back then. If only this was out then. And there's the other one. Got a whip. And some wood blocks. And we're going to finish off with a xylophone. Lovely. Let's go with the octave. Lovely. And that is the instruments. So the single instruments. Now, if I load up, and this is where it goes a little bit not how I like it, because obviously I like cropping the GUI. If I load up a set, so we've got the tom-tom, so forgive me for the GUI just sort of dipping a little bit. You can see at the top it's made way for the tom-toms, like the whole set of them. Okay, so you can play. You can play all 4 of them. They've got slightly different pitches. You can just set the roll on the 4th one. Okay, and now set the roll on the 2nd one. So we now have rolls across 2 of them. And you can do that for the different articulations. So these sets, there's a temple block set. You've got different pitches. Let's just try and find one more set. So the cowbells. Wonderful. And then we have these different kits. So if I load up a basic orchestral kit, you can see now we have lots of different instruments and they are at the top. And there we go. So that is very, very cool. We've got a drum kit. Lovely. And let's say you want to change something. So we've got the Grand Casa. If you click on it, well, actually, no, we're not in the builders. I'll come to that in a second. Now you've got some really, really cool things. So let's just play the Independence kit. So this is really good for, like say, drum line. And it's got that really, really grand feel. And of course, you'd have solo snares and different solo instruments, but it's a really nice starting point. And this brings us onto the different controls in the middle. So if you've got a pre-mixed version, it's already mixed for us. If you've got the XY stage, you can just start moving everything around. So I want a closer Grand Casa and a closer cymbal. Let's bring in the snares. So we've got a closer snare. Now you can just build any instrument group or even just single instruments. You can move around the soundstage, which is really, really cool. And then you've got different mapping situations. So everything, I mean, I think out the box it works really, really well, but you can move everything around if you want to. And then we have different settings as well. So you can change the color of the keys, the tuning, sustain pedal hold. I mean, I'm not using it. You can, if you want to control CC11, I've got that set up on my fader. That works really, really well. So you've got all of these different controls. And then depending on the instrument you're on, you might have a slightly different control view. So you've got a custom mix here from closed stage and far mics. And they've got pre-mixed as well if you want to just use that. Everything's panned as well, nicely, pre-panned. Very, very cool stuff. So you have everything there. You do have release control as well. So it was, if I do it on the crotales. Okay, there's no release. Okay, so you can see that I've got a short. And obviously the dampen sets it where you want it. But you can adjust that. Add some reverb. Beautiful. Adjust the filter. You've got a limiter. And you've got overall volume. So really, really straightforward, but you can see again the mapping slightly different. The settings, there's not as many because of the nature of the instrument. Got the XY stage. Absolutely love this control. And you got the custom mix as well for this one. So yeah, that's kind of the instrument functions. We talked about articulations, obviously just different controls you have. You can adjust how the dynamics are triggered. You can use breath controls if you want to. Very, very cool. You can adjust the pitch, just the gain. One thing we haven't talked about is the builders. So if I'll play this so you get an idea of, this is another kit. So it's using the marimba, vibraphone, glockenspiel, crotales 1, 2. So So it's a pre-made ensemble, but you can. Here's a melodic builder, for example. And this is what I was going to show you earlier. So you can add, say, the timpani. Actually, let's get rid of the timpani. So you just move it there. Let's just go for the Glock. And I want the celesta. So it will trigger the instruments when they're in playable range. So let's just add a xylophone. And you can see that's the playable range is getting there. I got a vibraphone as well. So this is going to sound quite pronounced. Okay, so it is blending all of those instruments together, which is very, very cool. And there we go. That is Lineage Percussion from ProjectSAM. Lots of different features, and I just love all of these solo instruments. You've got the groups, and like I say, you've got these different kits. I'm going to play some True Strike kits just so you can hear them. Yeah, these are certainly all new samples, but they're laid out like the original True Strike. So you've got Magic Spell. Yeah, pre-made kit. And then I'm guessing this is just a roll with lots of instruments. That is incredible. So there we go. I actually saved loading these up until I made the video, so I wanted to be surprised, and now I know. That is brilliant. Now, that is Lineage Percussion from ProjectSAM. Really, really extensive. I absolutely love it. So yeah, let's throw it into a composition. Now, obviously, I made the composition as I was getting to know the instrument, and I want to do something a little bit different, because this is perfect for orchestral music. It's great for fantasy music. It's brilliant if you want to do a child's lullaby. I did something a little bit different with this one. So let's check out the composition, and then we're going to talk about it. When I think ProjectSAM, I think fun, I think excitement, I think inspiration, and I wanted to create a piece of music that conveys those thoughts and ideas. So I went for this 1950s, 1960s tasking style music with a little bit of slapstick in there, and of course it has this swing feel all the way through. On the left hand side, you can see I have two folders of Lineage percussion instruments. We have the Lineage tuned percussion, so the celeste, xylophone, glockenspiel, vibraphone and marimba. And then I have a variety of non-tuned percussion, so the crotars, the rattle, there's an orchestral kit, a drum kit, beat string, tom-toms, and snare rolls as well. So we're going to look at those in more detail. And then I have some ProjectSAM classics. We have Symphobia 1, which is the string section, and I'm using the pizzicato articulation. It just sounds perfect for this kind of music. And then I also have the string quintet playing pizzicato, just to give it a bit more bite. And then we have the swing more bass. I love the swing series. We have the Symphobia wood section, and then we have the horns from Swing More. So they're playing a kind of droopy animated horn line. And then from Orchestral Essentials, I have the tuba. I love those two libraries. We did cover them on a previous video and they just sound brilliant. So I dig these out when I need to fill a gap, as it were, and just have a really cool sounding instrument. And then big band chords from Swing More. Now the big band chord arranger is just a joy to work with, really, really easy and lots of fun. I have added a very, very light Swing More drum beat, so that's just sort of swinging its way through the piece. And then I'm using the Colors Animator library for the sort of slapstick sounds, and they are wonderful. Let's just see where it started. So it really was with the big band horn part. So I'm just going to play that. And that's where the piece started. And then I added the bass, because the bass is absolutely fantastic. Let's just play that. Okay, and then we have the light drums. And that's all it took. And I knew instantly I wanted this call and response idea. I wanted it lively. I wanted it, obviously, major key, and just wanted to have fun with it. So we started building. Now, the Lineage tuned percussion just sounds great. And we have the celeste and the vibraphone going on. And in the actual instrument itself, I have dampened the instrument so they're not ringing all over the place, and it really, really suits this sort of pizzicato style. Then we have the marimba joining in with the rest of the ensemble. So if I keep that going, and I'll just keep the strings, so we have the pizzicato. Absolutely brilliant. And yes, I did class the bass as a string instrument for some reason. I don't know why. There we go. Now, we also have the adaptive sync working, and we have the beat string and the tom-toms. If I just move this over. So tom-tom 1 rolls and the snare rolls. On their own, they sound great. So there's a snare. These are all set to do, sorry, not do, 2 beats. And of course, I've panned them accordingly, but that's completely down to taste with an ensemble like this. And when you combine these, you get this amazing crescendo. It just sounds incredible. And I didn't want to overuse it, so I started staggering it. I think a little bit later, we've got some different combinations. But yeah, it's just brilliant, and it's such a time saver. So that's using the adaptive sync, and obviously I do cover this in the walkthrough, but you can just see we've got the rolls, and then you have the adaptive sync. Well, I've set it to 2 beats, not really adjusted anything else, moved the instrument into any different part of the room. Really, really cool. So I love this, just the fact you can move it around, you can change obviously the beaters. It's just really, really good fun to compose with, but I just left it out of the box, and that is a perfect way to start our piece. Okay, now I've identified that I probably would just mix these slightly differently, maybe bring the marimba down, just going into the next section. But hey, you know, it's a fun composition, so don't worry about that. Now we have our main section happening now. The bass part, I just love. It feels so realistic. So you got all the bass mechanical sounds. It's just beautifully sampled. And then, of course, we have the strings doing the pizzicato. So that's our main section, and I wanted to embellish these with the tonal instruments. So if I just bring these together. Now I'm only using the celeste, so you get little runs like this. And of course I've used the woodwinds as well to double those. So you start building these layers of sound, and then underneath with the non-tuned percussion, I was going to click that one there. I decided to just keep a drum and snare going all the way through. And then I've added little instruments like the rattle, which is very, very cool. And you can see here you've got the basic orchestral kit. I'm just going to play this together. Let's go from here. So there's a little bit more going on. So lots of very, very clear percussion and subtle little hits and dings here and there. But when I combine it now with the more melodic section, so just Lineage Percussion. You could just hear it sounds fantastic. And then in context with everything else, let's just bring the strings and the woods in for now. Sounds cool. I'm going into the, as I call it, the Tetris section. Not entirely sure why that melody jumped its way into my mind, but there we go. So we've got the swing more as well going on here. And it's just me being a little bit lazy. I could program using the drum kit, more of a swing rhythm, but I just love the swing more rhythms. So ProjectSAM for me, they're all about ease of use and functionality. So I've got that there, so I decided to use it in this composition. However, you could, like I say, just as easily program a section. Now, again, going to one of my favorite sections, it's where we've got the brass part. And this is a great example of just character and fun. So using key switches, you can put those ornaments on. So I put those falls, and in context with everything going on, with a nice offbeat cymbal crash there. Now I'm going to talk about Colors Animator a little bit. If I just solo this section off, for example, it sounds like this. And then let's just play from here. I didn't put these into a group for some reason. So you get these really, really cool embellishments, and just looking into the instrument, I just rave about this instrument and the other colours instruments. You can see you just got all these different, almost like snippets, and they scale across the whole keyboard, so you have different sounds. So if I just play this one, so I'm not changing patch. I'm pretty sure you hear that at the start of ProjectSAM videos. I think that's blended with Lumina. Could be wrong. And they're just really, really cool for adding embellishments and character. So I love these orchestrated phrases and little fragments, little embellishments. Very, very cool. So Colors Animator is chock full of those. Lovely. Now, the last section, I decided to bring everything in together. So you can see kind of like we had the celeste, we have the xylophone, and then we have all the instruments playing together. So again, I would slightly alter the mix, but hey, having lots of fun, as I keep saying. There we go. And if you're wondering what this is over here, it's a rare insight to the composing. This was a failed idea, so I will play this just for a bit of fun. Lovely. Normally I delete that kind of stuff, but I quite like it, and I think that could be orchestrated quite nicely. So that's what I'm going to do at some point. And there we go. So it's a couple more little things. I'm a huge fan of rattles, and this has got a really, really cool rattle. So again, just having a little sound like that in context. Lovely. And then we have the basic percussion kit. If I just solo these off. So I'm just adding little accents. And then we got the crotales, which just ping away, he says. There we go. Yeah, had to wait for it. It kind of built a lot of suspense up, but I found it. It's on my MIDI somewhere. They're just random notes I placed, which don't make any sound. There we go. Lovely. Yeah, sometimes, I don't know why, I just like that rhythmical idea, but I didn't end up using it. But hey. So, that is everything. And I absolutely love it. If I just quickly solo off these two sections for the ending, and I want the animator on there as well. This is what we got. It's incredibly clean. It's obviously all perfectly synced together. It just sounds absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love it, I have to say. And this is a huge collection of percussion. So I'm only using, I believe, 16. Yeah, 16 tracks from Lineage Percussion. There's so much more I could have thrown in, but I don't want to overcrowd it and just put things in for the sake of it. But again, this is an example of something that I would happily, in the current state it is, maybe with a little bit of a tweak of the mix, send it off to a publisher. So I think it sounds wonderful. On to my closing thoughts about Lineage Percussion from ProjectSAM. Well, it is a huge library and it has everything you'd expect to find in an orchestral percussion library. You have the variety of tuned percussion, you have the non-tuned percussion, lots of smaller percussion, and then of course you have these brilliant kits that are made for you. You have the dreamy melodics, the ability to build your own kits. It's really, really well thought out. And then you have the options, so you can move the instruments around the soundstage, have different beaters, different articulations, and then the incredible adaptive sync, which for me is a game changer. I've used it ever since Pandora came out, and obviously when True Strike was updated, there was adaptive sync in there, and it's found its way into other ProjectSAM libraries. It is absolutely brilliant, and it works perfectly in Lineage Percussion. For me, do I recommend it? Of course I do. I just think it is everything you're going to need for orchestral percussion. It's got lots of surprises. I love the military type kit, which would be absolutely fantastic for drumline, and everything just sounds really, really well sampled. It's very, very clear, it's pristine, and the tuned percussion, it all just sounds very, very dreamy. And of course it slots perfectly in with other ProjectSAM libraries, and of course if you want to just link it with other libraries from different developers, it's going to work beautifully there. It cuts through the mix. Like I say, it's very, very clean, it's very, very clear. Didn't have to really do anything in terms of post-processing or mess around with the samples. Just out of the box, it works beautifully well. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank ProjectSAM once again for sending over a pre-release version of Lineage Percussion so we can make this video. If you like what you heard, feel free to leave a like on the video and tell us, what do you think? Are you planning on picking Lineage Percussion up? Do you have True Strike, so you've been used to using the adaptive sync features, for example? And of course, this is all new content, so is there anything that really, really excites you about this instrument? If you're not done so already, please check out our other videos on YouTube, and of course please consider subscribing to the channel. It means the world to us. It really drives us to keep on creating content for both composers and developers, and it just really, really makes our day every time we see that subscriber count go up. Until next time, have a great day and keep making that gorgeous, beautiful, fun music.